Hey everyone. So I wanted to talk about R.C. Buckner, one of the reverends in Paris, Texas, that set up an orphanage and was very influential. His orphanage even stands to today. But before getting into that, my theme for this discussion here is all about ripple effects, how our individual choices can make a great impact on our society as a whole. And I felt like that was talked about a lot in our articles, either by an individual's choice or even by the federal government's choice and it directly affecting an individual itself. So, for example, in the Garrett Hardin article about the tragedy of commons, Garrett talks about this idea of overproduction, over reproduction, excuse me, of babies by families, and the creation of those babies is directly affecting society as a whole. And so, what do we do with that? And so, that's an individual making a choice that affects the society. Then we see in the article for the US Coinage Act of 1873 where the federal government makes a choice that directly affects the interests of the people. And so it's in these two sides of the coin, if you will, for no pun intended, kind of, that we also see in the life of Reverend Robert Cook Buckner, or also known as R.C. Buckner. Now, his orphanage was in Dallas, Texas, though he was a pastor in Paris, Texas. He moved to Texas in 1859, and he immediately saw when he came into Texas the desperate situation of orphan children as a cause of war. And so when he came into Texas in 59, he realized that after the Mexican American War, a lot of people were killed, unfortunately. And so these children were left fatherless, and their mothers may have died as well. And so he got to see this again firsthand when the Civil War came in through and the Texas served in the Confederacy. And so he felt like it was his calling to do something about this. And so through his life, he was able to use very basic marketing techniques and relationships fairly well. Now, one relationship that benefited Bunker in his endeavors was between General Rice Maxey and his son Sam Bell. Buckner served as their pastor in Kentucky, excuse me, and they moved to Texas around the same time as Buckner. And so in their relationship, it went beyond the call of a normal pastor congregant relationship, where Buckner, even during the Civil War, took care of the Maxey farm free of charge while General Maxey was off fighting for the Confederacy. And so little relationships like that. Additionally, Buckner had a relationship with the judge in Dallas that often would send him orphans, again, excuse me, send him orphans that were having trouble finding a home and finding placement in a foster system or needed a place to stay. And so it was a really cool moment to see him having almost providence bring these people into his lives that he was able to utilize either monetarily, that they saw the vision of his mission and saw what God has put on his heart, or that they were able to see the benefit of his ministry, even from a non-religious perspective, and send him children as well. Now, the amazing thing about Buckner Orphanage Home is it started with just 3 children in a very small cottage in Dallas, Texas in 1879. And from that point on, Buckner Orphanage grew substantially. In 3 years, he was able to buy 44 acres of land in Dallas County for about $500. And then 2 years after that, he was able to build a house that would accommodate 25 children. And so it was very in careful use of funding, as well as profiting from, again, his marketing techniques. So he would often use his own newspaper that he started in 1874 and post ads for his Buckner orphanage. He also posted ads, and the Baptist Standard was very encouraging of his cause. And he even went to non-religious newspapers from the Dallas Herald and many other news organizations that supported his cause and saw the benefit of this. By 1890, the land available to the home was 720 acres with 130 children in their care. Fast forward to 1918, it reached 2,000 acres and were able to accommodate about 600 children. Their budget increased substantially, and they were able to show these children not only a good education, but a good work ethic because they often worked on a farm that was on the land and property themselves. Now, the amazing thing of all of this is, again, Buckner still exists today, though it has changed because orphanages are a little bit different in America. But during the Great Depression, they're very influential, and that's one of the things that I'm focusing on for the paper for this class. I look forward to your comments and your discussion. Thanks.